Hello everyone, welcome back to Genius Knowledge Point, your one place for practical programming solutions for computer and IT students. I am making this video to provide practical knowledge to all students so that you can develop your own programs which will be helpful for your studies as well as career. In this video, we will perform practical number 7 for Java programming, and the topic for this practical number 7 is implementation of different types of constructors. So this practical is basically designed for Diploma Computer IT semester 4 case scheme. But if you are new to Java programming, or even if you are not from diploma syllabus, you can follow this video to understand the constructor and its implementation. So before starting our practical, till practical number 6 we have seen that we have performed some practicals, and in those practicals we haven't created any classes. We have not created user defined classes. We have used all the classes which are present inside our Java system, that is scanner class we have used, then vector class we have used. So that is similar to procedure oriented programming that we see in C programming. But as Java is object oriented language, we need to create objects, and for that we need to create user defined classes, and from those classes we will be creating objects, and inside those classes we will be creating some functions, we will be creating or declaring some variables. So that is actually object oriented programming, and that method we have to do from this practical number 7. So before moving toward the actual constructor part or implementation of constructor, we have to understand that how to create user defined classes, or how to create user defined function inside classes, how to declare multiple variables inside classes. So for that purpose you have to watch my video which is related to classes and objects in OOP, that is object oriented programming. So I am providing that link into the description. So watch that video so you will understand the concept of classes and objects. So it will be easy to understand the Java code. So just go there and watch that video. So now moving toward the Java code. So in this program we have to use constructors. So what is constructor? Constructor is a special member function which is used to initialize object of any class. So that is the general definition of constructor, which is also present in object oriented programming, that is C++, and the same concept is used inside Java programming. So it is a special member function which is used to initialize an object of a class. Then its properties are, it is having the same name as the class name, then it is not having any return type. So though it is a function, but it is not having any return type. So these are some basic properties of constructor that are used in C++. The same properties are followed in Java programming because it is also an object oriented language. So now moving toward the code. So in that code what we have to do, we have to create constructors and we have to perform addition of complex numbers. So here we will be creating our own class, that is called user defined class, for performing operations on complex numbers. So that's why we will be creating that class, and after that we will be creating some functions, that is our constructors, and using those constructors we will be accepting complex numbers and doing some operations. So now moving toward the code directly. So the code will be like this. So initially, as I have said, we have to create a user defined class, and that user defined class is class complex. So this definition is created by me. It is not present inside Java system. So this class is created by me. So that is called user defined class. So I am naming that class as a complex because we are going to perform operation on complex numbers. So inside that class I am creating two integer variables, that is int real and int img. So as you know, in mathematics complex number is having two parts, that is real part and imaginary part. So for that purpose I am taking two variables, two integer variables, that is int real and int img. Then after that I am creating constructor of complex numbers. So as I have said earlier, the constructor is having same name as the class name. So if you see, the constructor name is having same name, that is complex, and inside bracket I'm not placing anything. So that means this is called a default constructor. So the constructor having no arguments is called default constructor. So whenever we are creating a default object of this complex class, so this default constructor will be called, because we are not placing any parameter or argument inside this function bracket. So this is the complex constructor, which is a default constructor. So inside it I am just assigning some values, that is real is equal to 0 and img is equal to 0. So whatever the values we are assigning inside default constructor, that will be assigned when we are not passing any parameter while creating an object. So this is how default constructor is called, that we will see in the later part. Next I am creating one more constructor that is having same name as the class name. So this is called constructor overloading. So whenever we are having same function name with different set of parameters, it is called function overloading. But in this case we are having same constructor with the same name but different set of parameters, so it becomes constructor overloading. So inside this constructor what I am doing, I am passing one argument, that is int r. So in this bracket I am passing one integer value, and in the previous constructor I have not passed anything, so that becomes default constructor. But this becomes parameterized constructor because one value is passed. So what I am doing with this value, I am setting that r value to real part of the complex number, and again img part, that is imaginary part, is set as 0. So this is a constructor having single parameter. Again I am creating one more constructor, that is complex, but this time I am passing two parameters in my bracket, that is arguments int r comma int I. So this time I am passing two integer values, and both the values are used to set the real and img part of that complex number. So real is equal to r and img is equal to I. So this is how the parameterized constructors are used, and all the three constructors are having same name but different set of parameters. If you see, first constructor is having no parameters, second constructor is having single integer parameter, and the third constructor is having two integer parameters. So this becomes constructor overloading because we have created multiple constructor with different set of parameters. So all the three constructors are created now. Next I am creating one method, that is public void add. So this method is used to add complex numbers. So this is the method, add is the function name, then public is the access specifier, void is the return type. So this method is not returning anything, and in bracket I am passing an object of complex number, that is complex space other. So why this method is designed? Because I want to add two complex number, and for that purpose the object on which I am calling this add method, that will be one complex number, and the second object will be inside this bracket, that is passed as parameter. So this is how add method will be working. Next, inside that add method what I am doing, I am setting real part of this current object is equal to real part plus other dot real. So what I am doing, the real of this current object plus real of other object which is passed as a parameter. So this is how the addition will be done here, and that will be stored into real part of this current complex class object. Next, same I am doing for img part. So img is equal to img plus other dot img. So what it will do, the imaginary part of this current object plus imaginary part of other object, that will be added and that will be stored into img part of this current object. So the real and imaginary parts addition is done. So now I am printing the output as system.out.println. Addition is, so this is the messaging part, so that will be displayed as a string. So I am attaching real part in front of that, then plus I am attaching plus symbol, then plus I am attaching imaginary part, then plus I am attaching I. So how it will be displayed in front of the user? It will be displayed as addition is a plus bi. So this is how the complex number is presented inside our mathematics. So same format is used here. I am just using string formatting and attachment of values. So this is how I am displaying a plus bi value, that is the complex value. So the add function is closed here. Now I am closing my complex class, which is user defined class. So next I am creating one more class. So why this class is needed? Because there is no main function inside our program. Without main function we cannot run that program. So for that purpose I have to create a main function. So either I can create this main function inside this class, which is our user defined class, or I will create one more class and that will become my main class, and inside that main class I will create a main function. So this is the general method. So as we are new for Java programming, so I will be creating new main class, and inside that I will be creating a main function. So this is the main class, and using this main class I can save my file. I cannot save my file using this complex name because it is not a main class, it is not having main function. So for that purpose we have created one more class which is a main class. So public class complex demo. So this complex demo should be the file name of our program. So we have to save the program using complex demo.java. Next I am starting this class definition. Inside it I am creating a main function that we have already seen in the earlier programs. So public static void main, then inside it I am writing string args, that is arguments and array of string. So inside main function I am creating one object of complex class. So how this complex class will be taken? It will be taken from this class definition. So complex num1 is equal to new complex. So this is how I am creating one object of complex class, and while creating I am using new keyword, but I am not passing anything inside my complex constructor bracket. So this is calling of default constructor. So what it will do, it will create a num1 which is a complex object, but inside num1 the real and imaginary part will be having 0 0 values. So this is how default constructor is called. Next I am creating one more object, that is num2 is equal to new complex. This time I am passing single integer inside this constructor bracket. So what it will do, it will call this second constructor because it has to match the syntax or the signature of function. So according to our function calling, it will call a single integer parameter constructor. So this time it will do, the real part will be set as the 5 value which is passed here, and the imaginary part will be set as 0. So this is how we have called a parameterized constructor which is having single integer parameter. Next I am creating one more object, that is complex num3 is equal to new complex, but this time I am passing two parameters, that is 2, 3. So I am passing two integers. So automatically it will search for the definition with two integers. So the definition of two integers is present here. So that is int r, int I. So automatically 2 and 3 values will be set to r and I respectively, and from that r and I it will be copied to real and img part. So this is how we have used two integer parameter constructor. Next again I am using same constructor to create one more object, that is num4, and I am passing two values as 1, 2. So I have created one object using default constructor, one object using single integer parameter constructor, and two objects are created using two integer parameters constructor. So now all the objects are created. Now I am calling the add method. How I am calling it? I am calling on num1, that is num1 dot add num2. So what it will do, num1's real part will be added with num2's real part, and num1's imaginary part will be added with num2's imaginary part, and that addition will be stored into num1 and that will be displayed, because we are already displaying the output inside our add function only. We are not creating any other function for displaying the output. So automatically it will add the real and imaginary part and the output will be displayed here only. Again I am calling the same add function on num3 object, that is num3.add num4. So what it will do, it will add num3's real part with num4's real part and num3's imaginary part with num4's imaginary part, and that addition will be displayed again. So this is how both the complex numbers will be added and addition will be displayed. So initially we have created the multiple objects of complex numbers, then we have used add method on two complex numbers, and again we have repeated that. So this is how the main function is complete and the main class is also complete. So this class is called main class because it is having main function, and this is not a main class, so it will not run. If you run this class single, then it will not run. So for that purpose you have to add main function inside it. So I am copying this name because I have to save this name. So I am just saving this. Now to run this program I have to go to the location where my file is present. So my complex-demo.java file is present here. So I am just opening CMD as we have seen in the practical number 6 and previous practicals. So opening CMD here. Next I have to type the command, that is javac. So javac class name, and remember that this class name should be the main class name. So complex-demo.java, this is the main file. So I am just pressing enter. So there is no error, that means program is compiled successfully. Next I have to type java command, and after that I have to attach class name. So java space complex-demo. So after running this program, if you see, the output is generated as 5 plus 0i. So if you go to program, and inside our program if you compare the values, so initially we have created a num1 which is having 0 0, then num2 having real part as 5 and imaginary part as 0. So addition of num1 and num2 will be having 5 plus 0i. So real part is added, which is added with 5 and 0, and imaginary part is still 0, so that's why it is displaying 0i. So real is 5 and imaginary part is 0. So next we are displaying the output as 3 plus 5i. So if you see, the output is generated using num3 dot add num4. So if you see, for num3 real part is 2 and imaginary part is 3, and for num4 real part is 1 and imaginary part is 2. So addition of 2 plus 1 is generated, which is stored as a real part. So 2 plus 1 is added as 3, and 3 plus 2 is added, which is generated as imaginary part, and that is displayed as 5. So this is how the addition is displayed, 3 plus 5i, which is displayed in the format of imaginary and complex number. So this is how we have added a complex numbers. For that purpose we have created a class complex. In that we have created two integer variables for real and imaginary part. Then we have created multiple constructors using constructor overloading. Then we have created add method to perform addition of both the complex numbers. Then we have created our main class. Inside it we have created main function, we have created objects of that complex numbers, and we have called that add method using objects. So this is how we can create our user defined class, that is called our own class. Then we have to create one more class that will become main class because it is having main function. Then in that main class we have to create objects of our user defined class, and we have to call methods of that user defined class. So this is how this question is completed. And also practical number 7 is completed, which was just having a single question that was to perform addition of complex numbers. So what we have seen in this practical, we have seen how to create constructor, then how to create constructor overloading, then how to call constructor, then how to call method inside a user defined class. So that we have covered in this topic. So this practical is ended here. So that's it for today's practical. I hope you understand the program clearly. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more such programming solutions, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. If you have any doubts or need solutions for other programs, drop a comment below. I will be happy to help. Thanks for watching and happy coding.